4, and we are live. Good evening, YouTube, Facebook. Good evening to you all. We are live. Welcome to Couples Unplugged tonight. I am super excited because on tonight, I have two awesome people, a powerful couple tonight. My brother Rob and sister Jude Hostler on tonight. I'm so excited to have them both with us. And so what I'm going to ask right now as we get started, I am going to ask Elder Rob Hostler to pray us in, and then we're going to get started. Amen.
Yes, amen.
Amen. Oh, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, a day we have not seen. Lord, thank you for this place, this space, Lord, that you allow us to come together to share our lives with those that come online. Lord, we want to be able to pour into them.
Yes, God.
Maybe something that we have seen or we've experienced that they can utilize in their life, Lord. We want you to get the glory in all that we do. We ask in your most holy Son's name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Glory to God.
Amen.
All right, so because we got to let technology catch up with us. And we're going to deal with that feedback. But nevertheless, what we're going to do now, and Sister Jude, give me 1 second. All right, so I got YouTube up. I'm going to turn it all the way down, but I'm going to grab those links.
Perfect.
So that I can share them with you, and then you can share them with those that follow you. Mm-hmm. So how was your day? Come on, Brother Rob. What happened today in your day? How did your day go today?
Oh, I had a pretty good day. So I work for AT&T. What's called an in-home expert. Basically, when a tech gets sent out to a home to do an install or for service call, somebody from my team gets sent out to make sure that the customers have what they need and see what we can do about making sure that their service runs smoothly going forward. So I got an opportunity to see a few clients today. I had a good day.
So that's pretty demanding. Now, how do you feel about Verizon? Should I ask? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
You better stop playing. We trying to do the plug. That was the plug to get folks out. AT&T.
Yeah, the plug. But listen, no. In all honesty, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I really want to change. Like I'm with Verizon, but man, I'm telling you right now, they get on my everlasting nerves. And I really want to change.
The service, I believe the coverage is about the same. What I find mostly is that clients are spending anywhere from $50 to $150 more with Verizon for the same service, same amount of phones on their account.
No, you are absolutely right. Like I discussed that with them just the day before yesterday, and I shared with them. I say, listen, I pay way too much money. Like I can go and utilize the 55 and older at T-Mobile. Like for real. Like
we have that as well.
Oh, you do?
$40 a month. Yep.
Oh yeah. See, I need that's what I need, and I need to come over there. I'm gonna talk to you offline because I need to do something differently. Like they say, I'm watching my coins.
Yeah, there you go.
Hi, Sister Jude Hostler. Come on, let the people know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I have. So what I do for a living is I'm a therapist, and I work for a nonprofit called the Alcohol Drug Council of North Carolina. Besides having a private practice, but with the Alcohol Drug Council, I get the honor to work with individuals trying to connect women and children to treatment. Women that have a substance use disorder. And this week, we had a phenomenal event called the Black Poster Project that was a memorial to individuals that have lost their lives to opiate overdose, things that are related to substance use. And it was very heavy, but it was very heavy, but it was a beautiful event. We spent time making sure that we honored those families and the individuals that was connected to that. So yesterday, I pretty much just kind of just took it easy, did some self care. And yeah, I've been doing this work for a long time. I love it. I always say if there was a time that money wasn't an issue and the one thing that you can do for free, what would it be? It would be counseling. I love
Wow, wow.
working with people in that arena.
Well, that is it's a powerful work that you do, and especially with mental health. Um, there's a lot we've experienced, we've seen a lot. There's been a lot going on with mental health in our community, and so we know that the work you do is vitally important. And then being able to come at it from not just the educational experience and background but from the spiritual. And so I love it. You bring both of those aspects to the table. So somebody who is in need of counseling gets the best of both worlds when they go to see Dr. Jude Hostler. Amen. And so we thank God for you both. I want to welcome you all to Couples Unplugged. The last couple we had on was the Cars, and of course, y'all know Daniel and Melissa. They're also part of the Marriage Power Team that you two are also a part of, and so we want to talk a little bit about that as well tonight. But it's no real formula to this because we just want to hear from you. I'm single again. Was married once, very short time. But we want to get to know you and Rob. Let's not even talk about how long y'all been married. Let's start from the beginning. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. No, I'm just, when and how did you two meet?
You want to?
We knew. Well, we're from the same hometown, a small town called Asbury Park, New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore. So we went to the same middle school, same elementary school, same middle school, same high school. So we've always known each other. After high school, we went in different directions. Jude went to college in Buffalo, and I stayed at home. And we went about our lives. We've always stayed in communication with each other. We've always, she got married, I got married. Like that this is both of our second marriage. And the funny thing is, both of us were in like 14-year relationships, and then at the end of that 14-year period, we were, apart from those people and finding love in each other's arms. So
Wait.
But look, he said that I found him on Facebook. Now, I mean, look, this is how I tell the story. So I seen him on Facebook, and I said, Rob, you and your family look wonderful. He said, oh, I didn't take down the pictures that I'm separated, and I was like, what? So we talked. I told him I was separated. I wasn't looking for anybody. I don't know if he was looking. He probably was looking. What you looking?
You contacted me on Facebook.
Who really looking?
I honestly wasn't. I mean, you know what? When I went through divorce, I did. Sometimes people go through divorce and they walk away feeling real bitter. I still believed what God said about marriage. So I wasn't feeling bitter. I wasn't looking for anybody. And we actually finally went on a date. And when we went on a date, he just blew my mind. And I was saying, but this is my friend, Rob. Like, I'm not. And actually, we used to call him Taheen. So that was his name. So, but he was Rob at that point. And I wasn't. I mean, but the date was just amazing. And it just made me think like, well, maybe I could date him. And so
So did y'all date like? Because she said elementary, middle, high school. Did y'all
Never,
ever
we
date, like,
never. We have been friends our whole life. We have never ever dated each other. I always knew he was a nice guy. I always looked at him as but you know how you have the nice guy and the nice guy your friend. So that's
Yeah.
how I looked at it. And he, he just made it very clear that he didn't want to be that nice guy friend, and he wanted to date me.
Okay,
And
so he put it
yeah,
down. Brother Rob put it down.
yeah,
Listen, we ain't in
yeah.
high school no more. We grown.
Yep.
All it
So,
took was one date really to get to win her over.
Whatever. Don't be acting like I was easy. It wasn't no one day, and we didn't.
what was the date? Where did he take you?
Well, we went to New York. We went to see a play called Fila.
Wait a minute. Your first date?
Oh, yeah,
He
girl.
took you to New York City?
He pulled out every stop. We spent plenty of money in New York that night, jumping in and out of cab. We had a ball. The play was just amazing.
She lived in New Jersey at the time. I lived in Maryland, and I came up to see my daughter that lived in Maryland, and then me and her planned a date, and so I took her to New York. I said, if I'm gonna have one date, it's gonna be the best first date she ever go on. So I took her to New York, took her to a play. We went to BBQs, and had dinner. We talked the whole time. It was really good.
Tried to go to the Shark Bar, but they had closed, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This
well, Elder, where your brothers at? You got any brothers? You were talking about first date. You pull out all the stuff.
Yes.
New York City. Some people been married 10 years, ain't got to New York City yet.
Yeah. Yep.
It was amazing. It was the best date I ever had.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
It was my best first date ever as well. So.
Oh, y'all so sweet. So y'all on this fabulous first date, and then the date is over, and what were you thinking? Like, gonna be a second date? We're gonna see you again?
I was thinking about seeing him again. And yeah, we started dating, and I actually moved to North Carolina. By the end of that summer, I moved here to North Carolina. And one of the things that really made me know that that our relationship was going places is that my son Wayne, because I have a son and a daughter, and my son, we drove to New Jersey, and we had to come back, and I was like, Wayne, I'm just exhausted. So Wayne said, Mom, you should try drink a Red Bull. Was it a Red Bull?
Red Bull or Monster?
Red Bull. Now I don't drink nothing like that. No. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, well, Wayne, I'm still tired. So I drink the Red Bull. And then he said, well, they said the Monster is even stronger. This boy like 12 years old. I don't know why I'm listening to him. So honey, I drank the Monster and the Red Bull, and I was like, I was on some kind of drugs. I was like this.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. So I called him. I'm like, Rob, I was in Virginia, right? And I was like, Rob, I said, I'm on my way home to North Carolina, and I can't drive. So he said, what's wrong? What you mean you can't drive? I said, I can. I tell him what I did. And he said, pull over. He told me where to park at. I told him where I was at. I pull over. He lives in Maryland. He drove from Maryland to Virginia. He picked me up.
Jumped in her car.
Jumped in my car, parked his car near the airport, got himself a flight, right?
Well, I dropped my car off at Food Line. I had her pull over at a Food Line. I left my car there, jumped in her car, drove her to North Carolina. And then the next day I caught a flight back to Maryland and picked up my vehicle and then went back up.
Yes. And let me tell you, while we were driving there, we did not have the music on. We just talked all the way there. Wayne was in the back seat, sleep at this point. We talked all the way there. And then I was like, oh my goodness, that was just like, I mean, you know, some people, you can't even get them to take you 30 minutes. You can't get them to drive you from Raleigh to Durham.
Right.
You want to drive me from Virginia to North Carolina and then fly back? Oh yeah, that was like a turning point for me.
Listen, I'm just listening to the story.
Mhm.
I'm blown away
Yeah.
because you ain't even have a 7-day notice. You did a turnaround flight. I
Came
know
and got
that
me.
cost you. You understand? So he
Mhm.
was vested in this already.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
He wanted to make sure his good thing got home safely. Amen. So we
Yeah.
look, little brother Jude, I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
I keep calling brother Jude. Brother Hosler, I ain't mad at you. Sister Jude told me, she said, you call him Elder Jude.
Elder Jude.
Because a lot of times when husbands, and not to say you're in a shadow, but your wife, she does a lot, she's out, like, and so I'm always communicating with her. And
Her.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like you take on her name.
Uh-huh.
Hey, her brother Jude. No, that's brother Hostel. So I'm gonna make sure I remember that one tonight. So you drive her to North Carolina. You already done put the footprint down from the New York trip. Now you do this. Jude, at what point, or was it that point? Because for me, I would have been
Well,
like, yo.
that was like a turning point for us. And then he called one day and he's like, Jude, I'm gonna transfer my job from AT&T. He had been working for AT&T for about maybe 5 years as a manager. And he said, I'm gonna transfer my job and I want to move there. And I'm like, well, you can't come move with me. I live with my son. He was like, I don't want to come move with you. I just want to live near you so that I can continue to date you and to see where we going. And
Oh,
so he moved here. He
It took
moved.
a year. It took a year for them to find me a location that I could transfer to. So a year later, I moved down here to North Carolina. She had her place. I had my place. And
so you're here. You come. You leave. You both leave because she was from up north. You're here. You transfer your whole life to be
mhm.
close to her. What made you feel like, brother Hostler, that this was your rib, this was your wife, this was the one that God created for you? So much so, like, what was it about her? What was the moment, if you even remember, that said, you know what? She's worth me picking up, uprooting my life because my life is really where she is.
So Jude don't like me telling this, but it's reality. Um, Growing up, my mother, she didn't let me and my brother go stay the night at people's homes. Like people could come to our house and stay the
Yeah,
night at
that's
our
how
house,
it
but we couldn't go. And was only one girlfriend of hers, and Jude and my mother's girlfriend, they lived in the same area, and so we went and stayed at my mom's friend's house. She had two sons; they were our age, and so we went and stayed the night over there with them. And then in the morning time, I was 13 years old. I looked up and Jude walked by, and I looked at her and I was like, I wish she could be at 13. I was like, I wish she could be my girlfriend. I never talked to her before, never said anything to her. She just was beautiful to me. And so, fast forward 35 years later, I'm going through a divorce, she's going through a divorce, and come on. And and she reaches out to me. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna make the best of this. This is my one and only shot. And I said, I'm gonna make the best of it. So taking her out to New York, I mean, that was a joy. I told her, I said, she called me when she reached out to me from Facebook. We might have talked on the phone for like 2-3 hours that night. And
Wow.
I could have died and went to heaven and been like, okay, yeah, I had a great experience with her, just being able to have a long conversation and, us not being in relationship with anybody else. And so, but then when I had the opportunity to take her to New York, and then like she told you about the situation where she wasn't able to drive the rest of the way, I said, well, I'm gonna make the best of this. And then, you know, we got along really well. Me and Wayne hit it off, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like, he wasn't around, we did things with him together. So that built a bond with him and I. And so I said, okay, well, then I might want to move down here. Me and my ex, I was in my own place. She was doing her own thing. And, I had 3 kids with her. And I had a good relationship with them. I said, well, and I have family down here too. My father's side of the family is from Fayetteville,
Okay.
so me coming down here would it rekindled a relationship with one side of my family that I didn't have a really close relationship. Like my aunt lives in Durham, and we spend a lot of time, doing different things with her, celebrating birthdays and holidays and stuff like that together. So I said, well, if Jude is down here and we're hitting it, excuse me, we're doing well in a long distance relationship, I wonder how things would work if I moved down here. And so, and I didn't believe long distance relationships work. Before me and Jude started dating, one of the guys I work with at AT&T in Maryland, excuse me, he was in a relationship with a young lady in California. And I was like saying to myself, somebody cheating. I ain't say it to him. And I definitely didn't know his girlfriend at the time. But I was like, somebody is cheating. How the heck you go see her like 2-3 times in a year, and y'all in a relationship? I just thought that. But then when Jude and I started dating, and she was in North Carolina, I was in Maryland, I was just like, I understand how love can carry over 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 states. You know what I mean?
Wow.
If you feel that way about a person, it doesn't matter whether they in your face like this close to me now, or if they, 2 states away. If I love them and I want to be with them, then that's the person I'm gonna be with.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I would say too, that I really like coming to North Carolina now, we're not bragging about divorce. We always say that if we had the information that we have today, that maybe things would have been different, right? But I have a first cousin that lived in Fayetteville. She always wanted me to come here to live in North Carolina. I thought my kids wanted to come here. My son Wayne used to come down every couple of summers. He would come. And so I thought that me and my ex-husband would move to Fayetteville. So when all of this happened, because my marriage ended because of infidelity, right? So I walked away. I'm so grateful that I showed my kids that if you are a Christian, you stand by that no matter what, right? I didn't curse nobody out. I didn't go crazy. I still believe what God said about marriage. Right. And so my cousin, so I just was going through so much in New Jersey. And then one day I was, talking to Rob on the phone, and he said, you should just move. Now, mind you, I have been a counselor at that point for 19 years.
Wow.
I have never, ever looked for a job as a counselor. Never. Every job I ever had, somebody recommended me. Well, I looked for this job. And when I sent out my resume, somebody from North Carolina called me. The job that I wanted, that I had in New Jersey, I wanted that same job. But that job, somebody had got it like a month before, which when I look at it, it wasn't the same situation I had in New Jersey. What I have to this day was really what was perfect for me, because I work at a nonprofit and I work as a contractor for 2 different state entities. So for public health and for DHHS. So what it did for me was help broaden my network of people that I would get to know in North Carolina. They gave me $19,000 more than what I was making in New Jersey. And then every year it's just grown, right? And so on top of that, instead of us going to Fayetteville, we came to Raleigh. I had never been to Raleigh. Raleigh was just absolutely beautiful. And so then get here, my first cousin is there. Rob's aunt is here. His first cousins are here. And then my cousin meet this person on the Facebook. And she said, Jude, I think that's your family. And I said, why you think that? She said, because his name is Nunnery. And I said, so what? That don't mean he's my family. And so my mother had a very small family. And I knew them. They lived in New Jersey. And however, this cousin literally was my cousin. I think my grandfather, and I think his grandmother was sisters. It was that close. Sister and brother. And it was that close. So from me moving here, I found out and they were from New York. And so they moved here to North Carolina. So I found out that my mother had this huge family here in North Carolina. So it all just went full circle for us.
Well, that's a blessing because it sounds like it was ordained. It sounds like God was putting
And I
some
love
plans
it
in
here.
motion. The GPS navigation system of God.
Mm,
That's
mm,
what I
mm.
talked about today. The GPS navigational system of God. When you allow Him to lead, guide, and direct you,
Yes.
you'll end up where you're supposed to be, right
Z.
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
in each other's lives. So now you've moved to North Carolina, Brother Rob. You've uprooted your life. You came here. At what point in the transition did you decide I don't want to be dating no more? Did you? We going to the altar. We finna make this thing official. How long did y'all date before you got married?
3 years.
I think 3
3 years.
years altogether.
Yeah.
So I was here. So a year before I moved, maybe like a year and a half before I moved down here, and then like a year and a half after I moved down here.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how did you pop the question?
Oh, she was having a rant. I had this whole thing planned out with
Don't be telling.
her cousin from Fayetteville. We was going to do an engagement party. People weren't even doing engagement parties, and we were going to do an engagement party. And she went into this rant one night and in the kitchen, and I just went upstairs, grabbed the ring, and I pulled the ring out on her and just asked her to marry me, and she just fell apart and just. I was like, okay, that'll
Right
settle
now,
it.
was she having a rant, like she was puffing and pouting, or did I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
okay?
I do that sometimes.
She the baby
I'm the baby.
out of her family. So I come to I'm the oldest out of my siblings, and she's the baby out of her siblings. So
Okay, so
I already know how it is. I have to deal with those siblings that are younger than me. So
yeah.
I guess it's a perfect fit for us that I'm the oldest, and she's the
She the
baby. So
baby, yeah,
when
yeah.
she start whining, I find something to put in her mouth to pacify her.
I love it. I
I'll
love it
fight
because
you.
Pastor Will did a cute little teaching about that. And when one crying, you find a nipple, put it in their mouth.
Yep, there
Say,
you
make
go.
the baby shut.
It's funny though. You would be surprised how the order of how you're birthed in your family, how that plays out in your life. I never realized it until like as I left home and I would come across people that God put on my path to teach me, girl, you ain't the baby here. You might be the baby at your house. And
Mhm.
so Rob always would remind me of that. Okay, here go the baby.
So that's so you guys, I was talking to Evangelist Hostler, and I was telling her how, because I've watched you guys, I've known you now for several years. You were at Victorious Praise. I've been with Pastor Will Victorious Praise for 21 years. I came there when my daughter Amaya was 4. She's 25 now. So
Mhm.
21 years I have been affiliated with the ministry. How long have you all been?
14 years.
14.
Okay, so
14. Took us a year to find a church. I was here for a year. Robert had we joined the church probably as soon as he got here.
Yeah, as soon
Right?
as I got here. Yep.
oh wow,
It took
awesome,
us a
awesome.
whole year though. Whew. I was going
Yeah,
back and
well,
forth home.
but it's important because
Yeah.
we're talking about your spiritual growth. So
Mhm.
you get married. You now part of this mega ministry here in the Durham Raleigh Triangle area, and you are now active in ministry. You're a part of the marriage ministry team. I've watched you all matriculate through the ranks of leadership, and you can look at a couple from the outside and you can think, wow, they are the perfect couple. They got it together. It don't ever seem like they got no issues, no problem. You always smiling. He always smiling. It's like, da, 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 da. So tell us the real brother Rob, because from the outside looking in, it just look like the perfect painted Picasso. But I know that I know that I know that, there's a little some
I
sketch.
mean, if you look at every artist painting, if you look in the corners, you're gonna find something. So, but generally we get along. We have our moments, like she might rub me the wrong way, I might rub her the wrong way, but I've learned that they say that saying, a happy life, a happy wife, happy life. Um, and I've learned that in relationships, period, you have to find out who the person is and how you have to deal with that person. I don't let anybody tell me about somebody. Like, nobody can tell me about you. You know what I mean? The relationship that we have is one that we've made ourselves. And
Exactly.
even if somebody does say something to me, I'm just going to find out on my own. So I know
Exactly.
how to deal with you. Silence is golden.
What you
She
saying?
no, she'll blow up a balloon, and I won't be the pin to pop it. You know what I mean? So
I like it. I like it.
I
So,
would say too is that when I noted one of the things I noticed maybe in our last two boot camps, right? So at the church we have a boot camp maybe a couple of times a year. Whenever we would be preparing for the boot camp, all of a sudden things would start happening in our own relationship. And then maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we really began to recognize that. And then said out loud, "Oh no, enemy. As we prepare for this, we're not going to go through frustration and aggravation with one another. We're not going to do that."
right.
Now, I will say that I think we both, Robin and I, have almost like the same type of uh, personality. When I mean, as we're kind of easygoing, right? Easy, so we get along good. We live in our space well together. Like, I might cook, he'll clean. Like, if you ever around us, you see that we move, we flow together. Like, if we were out and about and somebody was having a party, you would see us at the end starting to clean up because we are in the ministries of help. So
Right.
that's who we are, and we have the same type of heart. Like, um, very helpful. Just always want to say the right thing to people, and I think that makes a difference in our relationship. And I would say too is that I learned after going through a divorce, even like I said, my divorce ended in infidelity, right? I could look at that and say, and I mean, it was horrible. It was really, really horrible, because usually when you experience that, sometimes it's somebody that's close to you,
Mhm.
because it's the way the enemy uses to break you down, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
However, what I did take away from it was that I began to look closer at my interactions and my relationship, and how I always had a helping hand out to other people, but could have strained your own relationship, right? And so
Mhm.
we say that in each relationship, if there's a problem, there's three stories, right? Your
mhm.
story, his story, and then the real
Yeah.
story.
Mhm.
So we learned from that. So when we see things going on in our relationship, we talk through it.
Mm.
Yeah, for me, it was, we just grew up. Me and my first, we grew apart, and like Jude alluded to earlier, we didn't know what to do in order to try to bring things back together. We just got further and further apart. And now that we're here, and we're part of the marriage ministry at Victorious Praise, the information that we learn and that we share with couples when we have the boot camps, if we would have had that information, probably you wouldn't have met us. You know what I mean? It might have, the story might have
Mhm.
been different. So now when we're in our relationship, we try to make sure that I try not to step on her toes. She try not to step on mine. And if we do, we apologize.
I always tell this funny story, right? So whenever you've been through something like that, you could have other things that trigger those feelings for you, right? So Robert and I were out um it was my birthday. So my birthday is the 21st of March. So,
Okay.
right,
Okay.
for your birthday. And our anniversary is the following week, right?
The
So
29th.
29th,
Guess
right?
who
So
guess who planned that?
so so the following, so if my birthday is on a Saturday, the following Saturday is our anniversary. So the
Oh, okay.
week before, we're at this Was it the same year?
Season 52.
So we went to the same place, right? Season 52. I like that little spot. So we're there. They bring out some gift for my birthday and all of this. And so then the following week, was that a year later that we went back there?
No, that was
the
that same
week?
time.
So we go back there and I'm like, well, did he tell them it was our anniversary? And he back and forth on his phone, right? And I don't know. Have you ever seen that show? The girl's name is is it Insecurity?
Yeah.
Right. So she be having these big old arguments with herself in the mirror. And so I'm sitting up there saying to myself, why he back and forth on his phone? Who he talking to on his phone? I'm going all in my head. So I'm wondering why the people didn't bring out my gift that they brought out the week before and all of this stuff. So I get up, I said, okay, if something doesn't change, when I come out, I'm just going to confront him.
So she went to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom and had an argument with herself in the mirror.
Right, in the bathroom. So then when I came out, about ready, set, go, okay, the lady came and she had this beautiful box. Now, my parents had me, they was almost 40 years old. So my grandfather had this champagne diamond that is just, when people see it, it's just beautiful. So Rob took the champagne diamond and then also my dad's rings, and it went to a jeweler and they designed it and made it into a new engagement ring. And and so that's what he gave me. And I'm sitting up there saying how so easy it is to something triggers something that happened to you before. Yeah. And you're ready to go off and not seeing the whole thing through. So those are things that comes up. And I had to say to Rob one day, is like, I said, thank you for just being patient with me as I worked through all of those feelings that come up when someone has cheated on you, right? Mm-hmm. And that I thank you that as we're married, that I was able to, because a lot of times people say, of course you want to heal before you get with someone else. It would be nice if it completely worked that way, but healing is not linear like that.
That's right.
You can heal one area and then something triggers it and it come back up again. It would be nice if it worked like if you had this 5-month period and you healed and you moved on. It doesn't always work that way. And so we complement each other in that way, giving each other space to grow and heal through.
Well, and that's a good lead in, because we have some questions here. I want to piggyback though on the fact that you said as a part of the marriage team, because I was a part of the birthing of Doctors Will and Grace Nichols during the era of them writing and authoring the books. And so my babies are No More Drama Relationships and the Relationship Battle Plan. Those two are my babies. I can teach that myself, right? Because we're a part of that team. One of the things that I think is so vitally important about the relationship battle plan is that it's not limited to just marriages. No. Every relationship should have a battle plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, what's your battle plan for infidelity? What's your battle plan for misunderstanding? So let's talk about that, because the fact you can't preach it and not live it. You can't recommend it and don't have one. Like what would you say work for the two of you, or have you discussed it? One of the things I think is that people should have a plan. If this was to happen, how are we going to address it? How are we going to handle it? And I know for you, Jude, you said that's a trigger for me too, because my first and only marriage, ended because of infidelity as well. So I got some riggers and triggers. Okay, there's some riggers and some triggers. So what do you guys do?
Well, one of the things we do, not that we search through each other's telephones, because we don't, but we're transparent. So we have the same codes to our phones. as the same codes to our computers, right? If he uses his fingerprint on his phone, it still can work with the code, right? And I don't look through his phone and he doesn't look through mine, but that is something that we do. We, um, so another thing with, you want to add something else?
No, go ahead.
So when I was growing up in Asbury, Robert is a friend that I grew up with. I had a lot of, because I lived in the Boston way, right? So in the Boston way, we had a lot of guy friends, a lot of girlfriends. Here in North Carolina, I have friends, maybe some men friends that are connected to women in the church, but I don't have, oh, this is my dude friend that's a new friend here in North Carolina, right? I just don't. I don't have a friend. Every friend that I have, Rob knows of my friends. I got friends that I've been friends with for 50 years. Um, what else? What else would you add to it?
So one, she said we're transparent. So I mean, we could be out at a restaurant. She could be texting on her phone, and I'll say, "Let me see your phone," and she's gonna give it to me. You know what I mean? So we're not hiding anything. Your question was though about infidelity. So I would like Jews lived through that experience. I didn't. I think the best thing that we do with each other is we communicate. Sometimes she might not want to hear what I have to say, and sometimes I might not want to hear what she has to say. But at least we'll listen, and we'll listen. And then I'm forever in my heart. I feel like there's nothing I won't do in order to make it possible for me to keep her in my life. You know what I mean? So, and I get somebody could say something to me and abuse me, and I'll just shirk it off. But if they say something to her, it's wartime. You know what I mean? So I get more offended by the things that might happen to her than I do about the things that might happen to myself. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have a thought. I don't have a answer for that one because I haven't thought about it.
Well, and the only reason I brought it up is because, of course, with the teaching of the relationship battle plan,
Yeah.
all right, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you don't
And the
have
other part
plan,
of that too is that I don't withhold intimacy. Oh, and when he said that if I'm on my phone, he said, "Let me see your phone." He's not taking my phone to look through my phone. He's taking my phone to maybe fix something, right? But because we're transparent, it doesn't matter. So the other part of it is we don't withhold intimacy with one another. We talk about that all the time with the relationship battle plan. Is that you could. And even in the other books, Marriage, Sex, Love, and in the Bedroom, right, is that you can withhold that, and then the person go to work and somebody's complimenting them. You might not, my love language might be words of affirmation, but I'm not getting it at home. And then I go to work and Joe Blow say, "Oh, you look nice."
right, exactly.
So we have all that information and we walk with that information. We recognize it. And I even like in just paying close attention to, not to say that the person can't have other friendships, but when you're married, there's a certain way that you go about it, right?
Right,
You
absolutely.
you ain't got no friend that I never met before and Tina calling you on the telephone like, who is Tina?
Right, yeah, exactly. No friend
I
that
don't
you
know no
can't
Tina.
Right,
I
right.
know all your friends, right? If his friend Tyra called from New Jersey, I know Tyra. I know Trisha and all, because he knows my friends, Mark Kim and other friends that I've grown up with, Kenneth Key, people that I grew up with. And we don't say, "Oh no, you can't be friends with those people," because you don't do that either. But we're not collecting new friendships that we are not, that's not a part of our relationship.
Ebony say, "Rob, it sounds like you value Jude and the cost of infidelity is not worth the relationship." I love it. Thanks for sharing. Absolutely. That's exactly what I was gonna say, because he sees the value. Like he said, he didn't experience that in his marriage, although that was Jude's experience. I love the fact that it sounds like regardless of what, he's not gonna put you through that again. That's what it sounds like to me, that he loves you that much that he wouldn't put you through that again. But we
Mhm.
know that in life that's a real issue. That's a big thing, whether Christian or not. That is a big issue. And a lot of times what people fail to realize is infidelity is not always sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
Infidelity can be conversation. Somebody that you talk
Hmm.
to, your work husband, your work wife. I hate those terms.
I hate those terms.
Yeah.
I
Who's
hate
my
those
work
terms.
husband?
You
Yeah.
ain't got
What?
no work husband and no work wife. You got one. It is you and you know what I'm saying? And I just think that when we start embracing the world's view, that's when the little foxes creep in, little stuff creep in. You ain't got no work husband and no work wife.
Hmm. And I think people start those things innocently, and before you know it, you in the throes of something,
But that's how it
right?
happens though,
Yep.
Jude. You
Yep.
know, here it is. You done lost a few pounds and you look a little sexy and cute. And maybe Rob didn't notice it at all because he done been married to you 10, 20, 14 years, taken for granted. But the boy at the job, man, he's saying, wait a minute, Jude. I ain't know. Look, that's a new dress you got on. Rob didn't even say, nothing.
Hmm.
So that's how it started. He started complimenting you because just like you say, it's that
Hmm.
deficiency that you ain't getting at home, that attention. But what I do love is that you guys, the love language is important.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Knowing,
I don't let her walk out the door without giving her a compliment. If she leaving
oh,
out this house, we give each other a kiss when before we leave, and we give each other a kiss when we walk back in. But I don't let her walk out this house without a compliment. So
oh,
no matter
I'm
what it
sorry.
is,
Can we clone him, Jude? Can we clone him? It just sounds like he's just the
you
ideal husband.
you heard about Tom Brady having his pet clone.
That's crazy,
No,
right?
He
I
had his
didn't.
dog cloned. Tom
No,
Brady. Yeah, yeah.
no,
So
I
yeah,
didn't hear
it's
that.
it's out there. I don't know if you can make another Robert Hostler though. I don't know.
Shut
It's
up.
gonna have some flaws.
What's something you've learned about forgiveness in marriage? What's something you've learned about
So
forgiveness?
for me, it it can if you don't learn to forgive, just in relationships, period. But in marriage, if you don't if you don't learn to forgive the person that you in the relationship with, that it will build a wall up between the two of you. You know what I mean? So for me, in my relationships, I apologize when I didn't do anything because I don't want one pebble to get in between me and Jude. Say we talking
Oh,
about marriages. I don't want one pebble to start that's going to build up a brick wall in between us. You know, they say a mustard seed. That's all it takes is something tiny as
nice,
that to move a mountain. So I don't want that in between Jude and I's relationship.
awesome. How
So
about you?
I apologize even if I was the one that was wrong, because I just want to get past that and back to loving on this woman.
Shut up.
Oh,
And when it comes to forgiveness, that when you're not able to let things go, you just walk in, having resentment. Well, you walk in bitterness. Period. You walk in bitterness, and so if I'm walking in bitterness, I am drinking the Kool-Aid, hoping that it poisons you.
oh
And
my.
so it's forgiveness is so important, even in those past relationships. If you don't forgive, you just carry all of that stuff with you into your new
Absolutely.
relationship.
Absolutely. That's good. That's a good word right there. What's some of the toughest challenges that you have all faced and how did you get through it?
Toughest challenge. My toughest challenge, what I would say, is like when I moved down here. Um, I didn't realize how much that would my children. I left so my ex-wife was living in Maryland as well, and not seeing. So when I lived in Maryland before I moved down here, every week I would get them like 2 days out of the week, and I would take them to school and pick them up. And so I had them 2 days out of the week. But when I moved down here, then it became, 2 or 3 times a year that I had them, and I didn't realize how much I was going to miss them and how much they were going to miss me. And I guess because I have 2 other children, so I have 5 children altogether, and my older 2, they didn't display as much missing me as my younger 3 did. So I didn't realize me moving away was going to affect our relationship the way it did.
Really? How about you, Jude?
I think one of the toughest times in our marriage was that when we got married, Wayne was, I already had a son and a daughter, but Wayne was living with me because Wayne was, I think,
12,
about
13.
12, 13. And so Wayne decided after high school to go back to New Jersey. And what I realized was now we were empty nesters. And because we started our marriage with, Wayne there, pretty much a lot of our everything was around him, like taking him to, football, basketball, all the things that he was doing. And then now here we were empty nesters needing to learn each other over again. That was a tough spot for us. I think that was a tough year. What you think? A couple of years.
Yeah, I believe so. Because then you have to fill that time in that space. Like I'm getting up in the morning and taking him to school. So now I'm laying in the bed and Jude's still laying in the bed. I'm like, okay, I ain't got nothing to do this morning.
Well, so let's digress and talk about that, because that's a blended families.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people struggle with blended families. How did your children receive Jude? And Jude, how did your children receive Rob?
Well, I think my children received him better. Wayne just clicked with him right away. I was surprised. Ivana was 19 and she received him. I don't think it was the same for his kids. And I think because they felt, even though their parents, they weren't together when we got together. So it's not like I separated their marriage or anything. They were separated. But I think because they were further away. What do you think?
I think because so Wayne was here with us. So that made the transition way easier because he was seeing me all the time. And then, and when I first moved down here, he loved coming over to my apartment. It was the pool, it had a game room and all this stuff. So he loved coming over there. So that made life easier for me and him to bond with each other. With my kids, they came, like I said, I would get them like 2 or 3 times a year. And so now they're leaving their mother, and I don't know what she was saying or putting in their head, and then coming down here with me and now and with Jude, and it's like, a little tug of war, you know what I mean? So I think it was more about what she may have been putting in their heads versus, the relationship they could have built and wind up building with Jude. But it could have been stronger if she would have treated them like, y'all build whatever relationship y'all have. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to be in the middle of it, but I think that wasn't the case. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it made it a little bit more difficult for her to get along with my kids than it was for me to get along with Wayne.
Yeah.
What's one lesson, I'm reading from some of the questions, what's one lesson marriage has taught you about yourself this second time around?
Well, for me, so my first time, so I always say that in my first marriage, I'm 80% of what went wrong in that marriage, I'll take the blame for. And so in this marriage, I make sure that I do the things, I don't do the things I did. And Jude don't see this side of me that my ex saw of me, because one, I wasn't in church. So my lifestyle was totally different than what it is now. I was on the other side of the street. I was not the person you see before you is not the person I was in my first marriage.
Gotcha.
So, like 180-degree turn was made. And it wasn't just because I was getting married. I started that work before me and Jude started dating each other. And so one of the things it taught me, what I've learned is that, one, you can't bring what you had in your, it's just like you go from one job to the next. You can't take everything that you had going on in that one place to the next place, because
exactly.
if that's the case, then you might as well just stayed where you were.
Where you were, exactly.
Yeah, and so that's the way I look at the marriage. Like, I can't bring into this relationship the things that I had going on in that relationship. And so I try to be, I try to keep my tongue a lot more than I did in my first marriage. And I try to resolve situations quicker than just letting them fester. So that's what I've learned about in this second time around.
And I've learned that that marriage is about work. It's not, it's not like, okay, we get married and it's happily ever after. You are, if you're going to have a healthy relationship, you got to be working on yourself, because, once we become one, you're still an individual, right? And what you do, what I do for God, what I do is my relationship with God, my relationship with myself, my husband. It's important that I continue to work in my marriage and working on myself. That's what's very important to me.
And if you don't mind, I was going to say one other thing is that, and we always talk about this when we do boot camps, is that what worked in your, like, Jude was raised in a household with her father and mother. I was raised in a household primarily with my mother and my grandmother. And so the things that worked in my household may not have worked in her household. And the things that worked in her household may not work in my household. So when we came together, we had to find the things that would work with us. You know what I mean? Not trying to follow the lead of what we saw in our parents' home or what we had in those other homes.
Marriages,
when we were in our previous marriage. We had to find out what was going to work for us, not bring that stuff into it.
And that's really good, because for both of you, you only had that reference, right? So now you had to create your own blueprint.
Yep.
For your house and what works for you. Who would be the first to say I'm sorry?
Me.
Yeah, right. No, Robert. Baby Robert. But I don't hold a grudge. We don't go days without speaking to each other and all of that.
But I would definitely be the one. I would be the first one.
But no, he said like this. You're right. It's me, not you. Now, does that sound like a sorry?
That's not always the case.
Does that sound like a sorry to you?
Hey, I'll say that. And that's when she wrong.
When she wrong, huh?
She's the one wrong, and I'm saying, you know
so
what? You're right.
Sarcasm.
I'm sorry.
You know that's sarcasm, right? So yeah, he will say sorry. You right.
You're right.
It's me, not you.
That's so funny. It's so funny. So who's the best cook? Who the better cook?
Me, girl. I burned down the house up in here.
I'm the baker, though.
He's the baker. I can't bake.
Yeah, cookies, cake, that kind of stuff. I make that. She can cook.
But I can cook.
Yeah.
They call me the 15-minute gourmet chef.
I know that's right. They don't understand. You could do something when you know your way around the kitchen. Your family could be eating in 30 minutes. Shoot, they be out probably done halfway off the plate. But that's true. That's a gift too. So, if there was something, advice that you could give to somebody like myself, who's also been married before, now single, hoping one day to find or be found by that special someone to spend the rest of my days with. Hopefully that's sooner than later, because I'm 56. But what kind of advice would you give to someone who's single and or a couple that is either newlywed or somebody who is struggling in their marriage currently, right now, what would be the hostlers' advice to holding it together?
So I'm working on a word, and this sermon that I'm working on, I'm gonna give it to you. I'll let you know. So some people they look at God's word and they use it as binoculars so that they can look at somebody else and see all the things that they're not doing, versus using it as a mirror to be able to see all the things that they're not doing. So
Wow.
I would say, in any relationship that you have, try to put don't make you be the most important person in that relationship. Think about how the other person feels and what they may be experiencing when you having a conversation with them or you in a relationship with them. Because if you're always looking at it from your standpoint, you're not going to ever see what would make that person happy and how you could keep them in your life. So if you looking to be married, or you already married, or you're going through a tough patch in your marriage, I would say start looking at things from the other side, from that other person's perspective. Try to see things from their side.
I like it. That's good. That's good right there. How about you, Jude? What
So
would you say?
I would say too is that find out, you know, communication was one of the things you talked about, right? Communication sparks the importance of intimacy. And I'm not just talking about being physical with one another, but intimacy. We always talk about intimacy is intimacy.
Intimacy.
What is that thing that both of you could come together, that you could do together? Like when the pandemic happened, oh my God, we was going bananas in the house together with each other. But we were trying to figure out what's the things that we could do. We had like dinner parties with our friends where we cooked and did virtual dinner parties. We sat and played Word with Friends on our phones together. One of the things that me and Robert do every night or every other night together, we take a bath together, and we sit and
Oh, that is so.
take a bath together every night or every other night. And we put the lavender in the bathroom, we put our candles on, we put the music on, and we do that. We have been doing it since we've been married. And at first, at one time, I was like, please don't come in the bath talking about work. And then I think we talked about it with Pastor Will one time. He was like, well, what, as long as y'all talking. And then eventually work just disappeared, and we just kind of talk about our day. And we might spend 20 minutes in there and listening to music, chopping it up, and washing off the day off of us so we can start the next day. So that's it. I love walking. We do those things that we find and love to do together with one another.
That's awesome. Like, I think, this is intimate knowledge of the two of you. And I think that what I've heard thus far is somebody who, as a child, I never saw a real healthy marriage, legacy of divorce. What you have shared with me tonight and what I've seen over the years with the two of you, it's like, it makes you feel like, could this really happen for me, for everybody? Like, could there be a Rob, in the world for me? Like, because but I'm so serious. Like, it really, just to sit here and listen to you, like, somebody listening may say, man, that ain't realistic. Man, come on, but it's real.
But
because
it's real. Because if you're around us, you could see it and you could feel it. You can't make up that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, like, that's what I told you.
when you get close to people, when you get a chance to come to their home and be around them, you see how they move with one another.
Exactly.
You can see they might could fake it on the outside, but when you come up and you're around them up close,
Right.
you get to see who they are.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I've been to your home. I've eaten at your house. I've seen you guys in ministry. Like that's why I'm saying, like, it just blew my. I asked you, like, is it really all that we see, or is it whatever? But to hear him talk, because your husband, I've never really heard him talk like he talked tonight, and that blessed me because I always thought you were the voice, and he was just kind of like your shadow. But to hear him talk tonight, like, and open up and just share. I mean, I'm just really impressed, Elder. I really am, because I would have never known this side of you.
Yeah. I do let Jude. I'm the plus one. If we go to 10 parties, 9 of them, I'm the plus one. There's gonna be one party that's gonna be mine. So
So she the social butterfly.
Yeah, I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah, so
I am. You are too. I just
I told Jude, I says, can we slow down? I mean, I took for her birthday in March, I took her to DR, and it seemed like every weekend from then on, I think we've had like 2 weekends where we haven't did anything since March. And I'm like, can we just slow down? She want to go to Jersey next weekend. I'm like,
but I love how you guys have supported each other, how y'all come together and supported one another, how you have found love again. It's so inspiring to hear your story, because sometimes when people have bad experiences in marriages, they've given up on them, and they never, think that they find love again. And you guys have definitely showed us that that's not true. And I think the second time around, like the world say, the second time around, yeah, this is that for you, and you make it look great. And I'm looking forward to some of the same, being able to find and be found by that special someone that has a lot of the qualities that your husband has. Like, you should write a book, Elder Raham. Write a book.
well, I'm writing a journal now, and then so I started a book. I sat that down, but I started a book, but I'm trying to finish out this journal, and then we'll see where God leads me.
Okay, absolutely. Now, your wife is a 3-time author, and I think there's a new book. Has that book released yet? Is that book coming?
Yes, the new book is called Financially Free. It's a 30-day devotional for women, and the Financial Dominion is for men. So my son wanted to buy 2 books. He wanted one for his girlfriend, one for himself, and I was like, this is a woman's book. So I said, oh, so that means I got to write a men's book. So they both have released. It's been about 2 months now that they've been out. And
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you on
thank
that.
you.
I want to say to those that are watching, because although I don't know why here I'm limited to seeing who's on the screen, but it says here that we have had, even in the viewing, it's here that we have had almost 80 so far. So on this side, it's not showing. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes I think Facebook be hating, whatever. But once we get off, we share it, the numbers go up. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask the Hostlers, maybe you want to connect with them. Evangelist, Hostler, she is and I don't want to say mental health. So what is?
I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor and also a licensed clinical addiction specialist. And I have a practice. My practice is Journey to Higher Consulting Services. And you can always find me on Psychology Today, Judith Johnson Hostler. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So if you want to talk to her, maybe you want to talk to them if you're a young couple, beginning starting out, newlyweds, maybe you've been married and y'all hit a bump in the road and you don't know how to get past that. Maybe you need a lesson from Elder Rob on how to be the first to say sorry. Come on here, because sometimes people just get in their own way, and they don't want to take the high road. They want to be petty. You know what I'm saying? And here it is. Now y'all going to bed and nobody's speaking. Nobody's saying that. The fact that y'all listen, my space is my space.
Yeah.
The fact that you just said y'all take a bath together a couple of times, I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to grow into that one right there, because I have been single for 20, finna be 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That is gonna be. I'm not gonna even speak that. God's gonna give me the grace, the wherewithal, and everything I need to be able to merge my life with somebody else's. I'm not going to even speak that. But I will say that when you've been in a way and in your own way for so long, learning how to do those kind of things is going to be interesting to see, nonetheless. So we might be coming and getting a lesson from the Hostlers. Amen. I had to write a book, do a lesson, do a teaching or something, because I think it definitely is something that a lot of couples, and I'm talking about marriage, people, because y'all been married for how long now? How many years?
11 years.
7 years.
On our 12th year.
Over a decade, and sometimes that kind of time in, people begin to take each other for granted. But y'all talk like newlyweds, traveling, always gone. Y'all still taking baths together. Like, that stuff people do in the beginning. Y'all in the year 11 and still doing it. So y'all got some kind of blueprint we need to have here. As we go ahead, Elder, I see you got something you want to share.
I was going to say, it's just, you have, when you get into a relationship, you have to do some of the things that are important to the other person. I mean, you have to wake up wanting to put a smile on their face. And taking a bath with Jude, she loves taking baths, and I was like, all right, well, come on, let's do it. You know what I mean? That wasn't something I did, and that wasn't something I did. I didn't share a bathtub with nobody else beforehand, so this was
Me neither.
This was new experience for me. So it was something that was gonna make her happy. I said, okay, let's do it.
Oh, that is so sweet. Listen, so as we're preparing to wrap up, and because I don't want to, monopolize y'all's time, but this has been good to me, because like really I got all these mental notes, and stuff that I'm gonna say, dear future husband. So, but I want people to, if people needed to reach out to you, I know you just shared that. Is there a website, or is there information that they could contact you that if people wanted to reach out to you, maybe schedule a session or something like that? Is there a way they can reach out to you, Jude?
Journey to Hire Consulting Services, that they can reach me there, or they can go on to Psychology Today and put my name in, Judith Johnson Hostler.
Okay.
And they will be able to connect up with my website there.
Okay, awesome. So y'all heard it here. Are there any last closing words that you want to leave? Jeanette Jackson said, great information and great ideas. Is there any information you want to leave, or any last imparting words that either you both can have the opportunity? I'm just gleaning right now. I don't, normally I'm full of questions. I'm just gleaning, because y'all, it's natural. And you can tell. That's what I like about it's natural. This is not rehearsed. I don't tell my guests what to say, what to talk about. I just like to see them in their natural element and they flow, because that's what I think we get the meat from the duck. You get the meat because you feel comfortable and you release.
Go ahead.
I would say one of the things that I've always heard my pastor say is that it's easy to fall in love, right? Falling requires nothing but you to just fall, right? But what's important is that you climb into love, and climbing requires work. Be intentional about your relationship. Even if you have some bumps in the road, just be intentional about communicating that with one another. Um, Having mentors in your life that help you work through, because sometimes you might not be able to work through it together, right? Sometimes you might need that third person. Sometimes you might need a mentor, a therapist, a whatever it is. If you're preparing to be married, just communication is extremely important, and being intentional. And if you have been married before, um, continuing to work on yourself as you heal, so that you don't bring bitterness into
Mm,
the relationship that you have now, or that
that's
you're going
good.
to have.
That's absolutely good. I love it.
And I would say, just make sure that you're thinking about the other person first. That to me, that's what I do. I think about Jude before I think about myself. I'm not like, I'll go out to go shopping, and I'll come back with something for her, nothing for me. I plan to go buy me a coat, and I might find something in the store that I like for her,
Oh,
and I'll put it away for something for Christmas. I have stuff. I start shopping for June in January, and I'll have stuff. I'll have all kinds of little things that I might see, or she'll say, "Oh, that's nice," and I take note of it, and I make sure I get it for her. So
listen, brothers, I hope that if you are single, I hope y'all are taking notes tonight. I'm talking about, I hope y'all picking up what he putting down. Like, this has been good to me, brother Jude. I'm telling you, right now, you really need to do a class.
And what I would say too is that God is the center of our relationship,
mhm.
right? And so if I'm intending to mistreat him, then I'm mistreating God.
Absolutely.
And I we'll just beyond grateful that God has given us the life that we have, and a second chance at love.
Yes, definitely.
When I walk through my house, and just the peace and the presence of God here, it just blows my mind. I just say, God, thank you for
Oh,
doing it.
that's beautiful, man. I'm telling you, especially when you've been broken, when you've been you know what I'm saying, when you've been betrayed in the way that me and you both have in a marriage, where you know what I'm saying, where it's like to see the smile on your face, like to know that it ain't just painted on for this episode of Couples
Mhm.
Unplugged, but this is really, who you are. When I see you at church, when I see you in different settings, you always smiling. Elder keeps a smile on your face, and I think that's a beautiful thing, that you guys have. And thank you all for sharing and being so transparent tonight, and allowing us into your space. And just know that there's a greater and deeper respect that I do now have for you guys, and what you have. Marriage is ministry,
Yes.
and you have a powerful ministry in
Thank,
marriage.
thank
And
you.
I'm just honored. I'm telling you, and the fact that you are part of the marriage ministry team at Victorious Praise, bringing that element, and what you all bring to the table, I'm just sure that the enemy is horrified at this moment, that
Mm,
there is examples of really godly marriages that are going to fight for the marriage, for the family.
mhm.
And so that's just, it's so important, and it's so beautiful. Well, listen, you guys, these are the Hostlers, and I am just honored to have been able to spend this time with them. I be always trying to be condense this into an hour, but I always go over, and it's okay because I can do that. I pay for the subscription, right? But this was so well worth it to me. Like, I feel so good about
Time
you
well
too
spent.
tonight. For
Mhm.
real. It's just been a great to get to know you in a more intimate, deeper way. I pray that those that are watching live, and those that'll go back and watch the replay, that you'll take some of these hints and these little nuggets, and go back and revamp some stuff. And maybe, you might not can't take it to New York, but if you can take it downtown Raleigh, and you know what I'm saying. It just it's the thought of
It's
it.
the thought that counts. Yep.
Fenton and Cary. It's very beautiful over there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much that can be done, but I think that Brother Hostler, you nailed it. You wake up thinking, how can you make her life better? Dr. Grace used to say something I thought was always, her and Pastor said it, but I remember just, making the other person better. Her and Dad used to say, Dr. Grace and Dad, and Dad is Pastor Will Nichols, Superintendent Will Nichols. I call him Daddy. He gonna always be Daddy to me. But he, when they say that you don't always go in it looking for what you can get, right? But how can you make that person's life better? And I tell Dad, even to this day, despite whatever has happened in their marriage, they got 34 years, baby. And he got enough wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and experience that we can still glean and grow from. And that's why I'm so glad that he has couples like yourself, the Cards, and others that actually still support and undergird and help him go forth in the marriage ministry, relationship ministry, because it's so important, because what God has given them still matters and is still needed and necessary in the earth.
Yes.
And I'm just glad that you guys are a part of that. Thank you again so much for sharing tonight, your heart, letting us in behind the scenes. Come on, because that's how I felt. Y'all was letting us in a little peek behind the screen. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you were transparent about it. So if y'all need some mentor couples, if y'all need a mentor couple, the Hostlers are here, okay? Y'all need some little insight. Don't sleep on them now. I'm telling you. Because they put some stuff down tonight that some of y'all might need to go and glean from them. So again, thank you all so much again on tonight for sharing with us here. I'm Pastor Sharon S. Smart, pastor of the Dwelling Church of God. And listen, I love you to life, which is why I do what I do. Nobody's paying me. I'm not endorsed by anybody but heaven. But I think it's important to bring these type of quality couples to you. We did the singles and you heard from us, and now we're talking to couples, because this is where us singles, some of us, not all, but us singles that desire marriage, desire a future relationship, we need this. And so to hear from couples, the Joneses were not able to be with us last Thursday because they welcomed in a grandbaby into the world, and so we had to reschedule them. But we will have them back with us at a time that works for them. But we may have, what I would like to do, and I share this with the Cards, is I would like to have a Thursday where all of the couples that have been on can come together and we do a show where all of the couples, probably be a 2-hour show, but we're going to do one where we get everybody on at one time, because I think that's going to be powerful.
Yes.
I think
it sounds powerful.
Yeah, that's going to be powerful. So we already got the Cards. Yeah, the Cards have said yes. Now the Hostlers have said yes. And I'm sure the Joneses, who met on Facebook, that's crazy. Not Facebook dating. They just met on Facebook. So I can't wait to hear their story, because, it's kind of scary, because like I joined that whole Facebook dating thing, and I can't wrap my mind around it. It's a lot. It's too much. I can't keep up with it's just a lot. So I don't even engage with it like people say you're supposed to. I have not given my phone number to nobody because I don't want to start something I can't maintain. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't know who is who for real. You don't know who. So I've just been kind of just, good morning, have a great day. That kind of just real dry, because I don't know. So y'all pray for me. I might have to come and just sit at y'all's feet so I can get some for real. Y'all laughing, but I'm telling y'all the truth. I definitely know that that's an area that I definitely need mentorship in, because when you've been single for as long as I've been single and you stuck in your own way, you get in your own way,
Mhm.
right? So definitely knowing that there are couples like the Cars and yourself that I have as role models blesses me. All right. Well, you guys have a great night tonight. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been
You
awesome.
too.
Jude and Rob, thank you so much. The Hostlers are one stand-up couple, and I am so excited to know that I have your telephone number. I am a sister and you are a brother, and
Yes.
I'm glad to be connected. So anyway, for Couples Unplugged live talk, I'm Pastor Sharon at Smart. Y'all have a blessed rest of your night. Thank y'all for
All right.
go back, watch the replay, and share. Let's share
Yes.
the information. Okay. God bless. Good
Thank
night.
God
you.
bless.
Bye.